I had started around like March, I think. Um, I signed up for a half marathon. I was like, hey, I'm gonna put a training plan together, followed basically my watch. Training plan, everything was going good. Previous year, I tried to do it and ran into some knee issues, which I've had for years now. And I kind of put it aside. I was like, okay, maybe not this year. So I tried again this year and told myself that I was kind of going too fast and not pacing myself well in terms of my workouts, and that was probably the reason why my knee was flaring up. And so this time I took a more of like a slower pace approach, like slowly increasing my mileage and my tempo, and everything was going good. And then as soon as I started to get above the 5 mile mark, my knee just started flaring up, and I just felt like defeated. I'm like, oh, here's this problem, that I've had, and it's just I've tried to kind of pace myself more and slowly increase my mileage and all, and it didn't work. And so then I started to look for more answers, and I found you and started working with you, and just kind of figured that there was some kind of imbalance, because for me, when I had the pain, it was like it would only happen after 5, 6 miles, and then it would basically go away after I stopped running. So I knew something in my legs was fatiguing, causing me to have that pain. And so we started working on stretches and exercises. And when we first talked, kind of saw how I just didn't have a lot of mobility in my ankles, and just in general. And we worked on, building up that mobility, so that I'm able to have like a more natural stride that kind of evens out the weight of my body. And also looked at my step was inverted when we first started working with each other, which I never knew until like I recorded it and we went through the video. Um, and I was more conscious after that, seeing where I'm stepping and how my strides are. And I just slowly started seeing like a gradual improvement in terms of pain, and I started being able to run longer without having pain, or I still had pain, but just not to a point where it was stopping me from running or worrying me as much. And yeah, about the halfway point, I was optimistic, but also I'm like, oh, I still have a long way to go to get to 13 miles without pain. And I don't know the exact timeline, but I think we had around a month and a half, right, working together. So once I got towards the end, I was seeing improvement. I was seeing that I was going, we were doing like 8, 10 mile runs with intervals, but I was able to get those done. That's still an improvement for where I started, where I was getting to 5 miles and my knees were just basically like stopping me at that point because I was in like severe pain. And I was able to complete it. And towards the end, actually, once I got past like mile 10 or like mile 10, it's almost like my knees were like, okay, we're used to the load, and we know what's going on, and they like the pain just kind of went away after like mile 10. So I think it was just more of like easing in and like my legs getting used to the load, which they still are. I mean, we only worked together for a month and a half, so we didn't have like a whole proper build up, you know, to do like a full training 2 month plus program. But at the end of the day, I reached my goal. I did it at a time that I was happy with. So yeah, just stoked looking back. It's like when I started working with you and I looked and I just remember having that 6, 7 mile run and just my knees completely just giving out and just a lot of pain. I just did not think it was going to be possible to run that half. I thought I was going to have to cancel. So it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you made really fast gains. Like you said, we didn't work a whole long time together, but you made really great progress. Before we started working together, how far, how long were you able to run without knee pain?
Uh, like 6 miles maximum. Like it would be like, oh, there's the pain, and then within that mile, it would be like a sharp pain to the point where I'm like, okay, I have to stop. Even if I'm trying to tough it out, it's like I can't. It's gotten to a point where it's really bad.
And then what do you feel like was the biggest difference between what you were doing previously and then what we did together.
Um, the biggest difference was prior to us working together, I really didn't do much besides running. I didn't do like, I mean, I would do like, your basic like squats and, basic leg exercises. And I did stretch, but it was just prior to the run. And when we started working together, the way it was set up was like doing these exercises. Um, and then after the run, doing the stretches, which is something that I hadn't done. I wouldn't, first off, I wouldn't do leg exercises before running because in my head I'm like, well, I don't want to fatigue my legs, prior to running. Well, that's just my train of thought. And then I would stretch before because I'm like, oh, I should probably make sure I'm stretched and like my legs are feeling good before I run. And yeah, this new approach with like doing the exercises, and they were like catered to basically, address the weaknesses and also the lack of mobility that I had in certain parts of my legs. So it was more like a catered approach to me, basically, where my weaknesses and like where my stiffness was in my ankles. So you get like that customizable like approach versus when I was doing something prior, it was just kind of taking a guess. I'm like, oh, maybe this will work or that'll work. But yeah.
For sure. And then going into this half marathon, what was your goal before, and then what were you able to get?
So my ultimate goal was first off just finishing, because I was like, well, if I can finish this race, like that'd be awesome. Um, so I hadn't ran more than like 8 miles at once in my life. And then the week prior to the race, you told me that I should get to the 10-mile mark, which I did. Um, and I didn't have too much trouble getting there, but I was worried, why would you not be worried after having, just having knee problems basically a whole later part of like last 3 4 years of my life. I was worried that maybe my knee would flare up and something bad would happen. And I wasn't really so much focused on time. Like in my head, I'm like, I'll be really happy if I get under 2 hours and I finish, or if I get one under 150, like that would be like, best scenario ever. But my main goal for this race being my first and given, situations that I have like knee problems, I just wanted to finish. So yeah.
Yeah. And then what did you end up getting?
So I ended up finishing at just over 1 hour and 55 minutes, which I was stoked about, because, I did reach my one goal that I had was to get under 2 hours. Um, and I ended up actually getting second in my age group, um, which is awesome. I got an extra medal for that. But I mean, that's, still really happy with the result. And yeah, I just felt like I did really well.
Yeah. I mean that's cool. Yeah, I didn't even know you got the second place. Well, congrats on that.
Yeah.
And then just lastly, what do you feel like has been the biggest unlock since being able to address the knee pain and like knowing that you are more in control of the knee?
Yeah. Well, now that I got this half marathon under my belt, like I feel more confident. I feel like I can achieve more. I feel like if I want, I can sign up for more races. I can challenge myself. And it's not so much more of a question of like, oh, will my knees be able to do it? It's like I've done it, and I did it in a short span of time. I have the exercises that I've, memorized and the stretches. I kind of know my body a little bit better now, and I just feel more like I feel like it's kind of unlimited what I can do from now on. Maybe I've even been thinking about like either doing another half in the fall or even trying the full. So it's just opened up more possibilities and just made me more confident in my running.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's all about, just unlocking one portion at a time and then being able to build to bigger and bigger goals so you can
Yeah.
continue your running journey. Cool, Guy. Well, I mean, it's been a pleasure working together and thanks for sharing your experience.
Yeah, yeah, it was a pleasure working with you. Yeah, I want to say thank you. Honestly, I appreciate all the help that you had and kind of helped me remember like, oh, like, you can do this. You know, there's a lot of times when I would try to do this by myself. It's easy when you have like a bad week, your knee flares up, just get really negative. So it's nice to have like a coach there that like like brings you up when you're feeling down and so that was huge for me because there's definitely since this was such a short like camp I would say there are definitely some points where I was doubting myself and I was like maybe I should cancel and ended up sticking it to my gun and doing the exercises and it all ended up working out and paying off in the end so I appreciate it.